All right, we're back with David Rosenthal, and now we're going to go for part B of the rig, the onstage rig.
Yeah, so just continuing along the little tour here. So this is my screen sharing computer. This is not running MainStage. MainStage and all of my stuff is running below the stage.
Right.
But this is how I can see what's going on. I have my two MainStage computers down there. The MacBook Pros are networked together, and this is on the network, and it's done through screen sharing, and I load these up. So basically, here is my A rig, and now I can look at my B rig.
Just swipe it.
Just swipe it, a 3-finger swipe across, and I can see it. And the other two computers I have are here and here, so I can look at all 4 computers underneath the stage, and I can monitor what's going on from here and have control of them.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's a pretty nice. And also this way I can keep an eye on things when I'm changing my programs. I can see that make sure it went to the right program.
Right.
If I have to switch over to the B rig for any reason, I can monitor that. Keep an eye on my output meters, so on and so forth, and just make sure everything is working.
MainStage has really become like the most useful thing for live shows on this level.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing else that does what it does at all.
How do you describe it? What would you call it as a program for what you use it?
I don't know. It doesn't really have a name. It's its own animal. But it replaced basically the Studio 5, which is how I used to do this for many years.
Right.
But MainStage, besides replacing the MIDI application of the Studio 5 and all of its sophisticated routing, program changes, and everything else, MainStage also replaced my mixer and does all of my audio routing and any outboard gear, because everything is all living in plugins now.
Amazing.
And I have some more synths available to me as plugins as well. So it's really doing all of those things.
Amazing.
And
all in the box.
Doing a great job with it too. Yeah, it's really working out great.
So behind you here, you have the Hammond XK3C.
Yeah, yep, and XK3C, and that's running through a Leslie 147, which is below the stage.
We saw.
And this is my volume pedal for the Hammond, sustain pedal for the 2661, which is my other controller up top here.
And what are you playing off the 2661?
Well, whatever I want. I mean, these are all controllers. Nothing's making any sound. There's no audio going on. So I can take once I've created the sound for each one of the parts of all of the songs, I can route them to anywhere and put the sound anywhere I want on any keyboard.
Cool.
Because they're all controllers. Back here is the Phantom G. And then down here we have the Roland PK5s, which is also a controller.
The MIDI pedals.
So I can do some Taurus pedal samples. I can play a string line. I can stack up a chord and play it. Whatever I need to do, trigger a sound effect. Right. It's another controller. So So
it's basically your choice if you're in the round and you want to play to the back of the crowd, or
exactly.
With the Hammond, it's got a pretty good internal organ sound, but you still use sounds. You still use the Hammond as a controller, or using its internals?
No, the Hammond is not MIDI'd at all.
Okay, that's what
so if everything else were to blow up, I could play the Hammond through the Leslie.
Yes,
that's my philosophy there. There's not a MIDI cable connected to it.
People be like, boy, Billy's set really had a lot of Hammond tonight. I didn't realize it had so much.
But fortunately, that hasn't happened.
Good, knock wood.
Yeah, but I am prepared for that just in case. So that does that, and then I do have some organ sounds in my keyboards, which if I want to use an organ patch in a stack, then I'll use it that way. But if I'm just playing on organ, I just usually. And
can you route any of those other organ sounds through the Leslie if you needed to, or is it just?
I can do that by routing out the separate outputs on the ultralights using MainStage to send something out the other and feed it in that way. Yeah.
It's just the efficiency of your routing. I keep coming back to that, but it's something that when you dip your toe into this world, there's a lot to think about, but you have this down to a science because you've been doing it so long. And our first article on David was in '94, and then I think 98, and then 2008, or it's been along the way. But
it's all in the archives.
It's all in the archives. If you go to davidrosenthal.com, you can see those articles up there, and you can literally see how his rig has evolved to this spot. And I was commenting how your glyph drives went from 1 gigabyte to 256 gigabytes, and now you're
now everything is solid
terabytes.
State, right? Terabyte. That's right. So just to finish up here, because I think we're going to be starting sound check pretty soon. This is a foot switch for the Leslie speed. Does the same as my fast and slow.
All right.
Over here, I don't know if you can get this. I talked about the Phantom here, but this is my headphone box. And when I'm practicing in the afternoon or working on sounds, here we can move this out of the way. This way I can monitor my A MainStage rig or my B MainStage rig through the headphones here, so I can make sure they're both working and make sure all the sounds are properly coming up and everything is happy and ready for a show.
Yes.
And the stands here are Gibraltar, which is basically, it's a custom configuration. Basically, you buy them as Tinker Toys and you play with it until you get it to do what you want.
I think most people think of these as like a drum
Well, they're kind of made for that. They do have some parts for people who wanted to use them as keyboard stands.
Right.
But for me, it's just about getting the keyboard. I want the keyboards exactly in the same spot every single night.
Yep.
And they've been in the exact same spot every single night for 20, 30, maybe 30 years, so that I can actually go, without looking. I know exactly where the keys are,
Yep.
and I can make really quick jumps
Yep.
without having to think about it. And so the stands are really important, and they look cool too.
So if the crew wanted to mess with you, they could just tweak your stands like an inch apart, and damn, I keep missing the
that
keyboard.
wouldn't be a good plan.
All right, well, this has
so-
been a great tour.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
I think we covered most of it. The drink holder is here, the all-important drink
Of course,
holder.
we've got to have a drink holder.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think that's it. I think that's it.
All right, well, thank you, David. We're going to come back with a couple more segments with Keyboard Magazine. I'm Robbie Jeanette. Thank you so much.